and welcome yourselves to technically part 2 of these videos. This is going to be the top 10 worst characters of Waterloo Road. Go and check out the top 10 best characters if you haven't done so yet. And obviously, as I said in the previous video, these are my opinions. Everyone's going to share their own opinions on this show. Waterloo Road Season 11 was a very divided show. I loved it, but hated it. You know, I wanted to punch the screen at times because of what the writers were doing. But altogether, I'm glad we can talk about it, have mature conversations about this season. And obviously, let's rank the top 10 worst characters of the show. If you've watched part 1, you'll obviously realize certain characters will not appear in this list, and you may be pissed off already that certain characters are going to appear in this list. I will obviously clarify again, Erica does not feature. King's daughter does not feature. The girl who went for the election does not feature. Certain characters will not feature. Chloe will feature. I will state that simply because she did ruin the show. Not her, but the writers. So let's dive into the top 10 worst characters of Waterloo Road, Season 11, Part 1. Enjoy. So, number 10 on this list is the character I just revealed, Chloe. And simply this, it's nothing to do with Chloe. It's simply she was underutilized. She was wrongly killed in the first episode. Look, I say this. People die in Waterloo Road. It's a simple case of that. We've seen it in every single season. Kill her off in the 6th episode or the 5th episode, whatever it may be. Don't kill her off in the first episode because then you ruin the home dynamics. You ruin Dante's character. You don't give Tommy any appearances. Izzy doesn't get a chance to develop as a character. Stuff like that. That's why Chloe is 10th on this list. 9th on this list is going to be Wendy, and she's the receptionist in this. And for me, she just didn't do anything for me. She made jokes that were just so bland. But again, nothing too bad. The fact is, she just wasn't that great. When she appeared, she didn't do anything in those scenes. There was just, I don't know what it was. When she's not, I don't hate a character, but I just don't really like. What do you think of, what is it, with Janice? Even the one from Ackley Bridge, I really liked. There's always been something about the receptionist. They always had this personality. They were trying to get a personality out of Wendy, but for me, it just never transpired to the screen and into me. So ultimately, she's 9th on this list. 8th on this list is Noel, and the reason why I've put him so low on this is because he sort of redeems himself. For the most part, he's an annoying goofball idiot that's so unlikable, and they humanized him in the sense of, I love the whole election episode. I love how he helped Samir. There was a lot of layers that added to his character, and I believe he could be on the top 10 best character list going into the rest of the season if they keep going forward. And it'll be the same for number 7 on this list, Dean. Dean was slightly worse, in my opinion, than Noel, because Noel had some great scenes. Dean, again, struggled to find his feet in the series until he started dating Kelly. Kelly Joe sort of again brought the best out in him, and I'm intrigued to see his character improve and prove. I think again these two have a lot of development going forward. I love Dean's relationship with Danny in the first couple of episodes, and again I'm excited to see what these two characters do going forward. 6th on this list is Tonya, the daughter of Nikki, and obviously the sister of Preston. Again, in my opinion, a lot of the characters on this list, it's not even anything to do with them. She just didn't appear enough. Her relationship with Izzy was sort of sidebarred because Izzy wasn't appearing. You understood some of the storylines she was doing, but she went about things wrongly. She tried to bog wash someone in this episode or give them a swirly, whatever you want to call it. I just don't think there was enough family dynamics. I don't think there was enough relationship between her and Preston. I think her and Preston probably should have sat down after the whole listing. There was just a lot missing from her character, and she just didn't appear enough, in my opinion. 5th on this list is Izzy, and in my opinion, a character who should have been the main character, the main focus, someone who was heavily involved after being the daughter of Dante and Chloe. How do you bring someone in that is in their family and have them appear in what I think she appeared a lot The first two episodes, obviously, because it was the first day, and then it was the funeral and the whole death stuff. And then she didn't really appear much. She had a couple of scenes where she first became friends with Tonya. She was no longer friends with King's daughter for some reason. Um, and yeah, she just lacked appearances. I think that's more the thing. And when she was on screen, all she was doing was screaming at Dante. And that's not development. That's just really stupid. Even though there was a really touching scene between her and Dante that said nothing you did between you and the car was your fault. You're going through something that no one can relate to. The next time she appears, you go, why the fuck did you beat the shit out of that car? It's like, you just contradicted yourself, and it's not her who's doing it. I think the actress who plays Izzy has developed as potential, but the writers just contradicted everything about her character. And I was just like, okay, makes sense. So fourth on this list is Samir, and Samir was always a tough one. You know, she had the abilities and the potential to be fantastic, in my opinion. But every time something just went against or went wrongly for her, she just always spat a dummy and was always like, nah, I won't go to the right people. I'll just make a scene. She rioted in the first episode. I think she rioted halfway through the episode, halfway through the season. She rioted in the basketball game. She would never listen to Preston. If Preston was able to explain himself, I'm not saying he was in the right, but if he could explain himself, she was very quick to jump to Danny. A relationship with Danny formed out of nothing, and I think she wanted an excuse to get away from Preston. She was just a very confusing and all over the place character that I just don't think has likable or redeeming qualities. Again, nothing against the actress, but I think they just wrote her character. I think a lot of characters on this list is down to bad writing at times. And I hope a lot of them develop and redeem themselves going forward. But I don't think certain characters will. Nolan Bean definitely, but Samir just has one of those personality traits that I'm hoping we get a lot more from her family and to see her develop into a better character. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Third on this list is Coral Walker, the easiest. She could have been first on this list, but there's two characters that I think are worse. Coral was just horribly written. I just hated how she was one dimensional and just constantly blaming Amy the entire time. There was no way she wasn't even trying to get out of that. She wasn't even trying to live a life. There was nothing she could do. Even when she wasn't on screen with Amy, she just didn't know how to act accordingly. She didn't know how to speak properly, and she was just a horrible piece of work. And I'm just thinking, how could you write someone this evil? And it's just, I get it's her character and it was the story, and obviously it made, it made everything happen in the seventh episode. But for the most part, you're thinking, I just didn't enjoy watching Coral Walker or the actress at all. And there could have been moments where she could have been living a different life away from the Chloe anger when she wasn't on screen with Amy or with the teachers or something, or see her home environment and stuff like that. But maybe we'll see that going into the next episodes, but who knows? And going into the final two characters, you may be getting to this point and going, where is an in particular character? Where is he? And it is Kai. I put Kai second on this. I think he is so in our faces. He's over the top. And yeah, because yeah, he is gay. And I see that they could be flamboyant and OTT. And I just think he was just there were some scenes where he was just OTT for no reason, and I'm thinking, okay, that wasn't necessary. Certain things were necessary. I didn't like how they basically forced him into Preston's arms. It was very weirdly done. Kai and Preston had never really talked in the first 2, 3 episodes. They've been in the same group, and weirdly enough, Kai saw the vulnerability in Preston and was like, yes, I'm going to make you my partner. And it was just really hard to watch in the sense of they were just forcing Kai into these situations with Preston. Preston, there was no qualities where you'd go, he is seeking a relationship with a guy. If he's bisexual or gay or whatever it may be, it always felt fluid with Samir. And then they sort of went, oh, you know what? Let's ruin things with Samir because of this listing, and then let's go into a same-sex relationship. It just felt really forced, really random, and Kai could have just been focusing on maybe another character. Cool that there's a gay character in the show, but why did you have to force it on someone he'd idolized and always loved looking at. He always went Preston's the pretty boys, the most attractive guy in the school, and it's like it seems really weird that he would weave his way into that. So I think it would have been better maybe if there was another guy in school he was, going towards rather than forcing him into a storyline with Preston. I just think they had they made a storyline for no reason, but especially when Preston's going through the bulimia storyline, the basketball pressures, the whole storyline with Samir, his rivalry with Danny. Preston had too many storylines and they just forced too many things on it. And for him to turn around and reject Preston, it was like all this build up to reject him and then get pissed off that he stood you up the next day because of his bulimia issues. It's going to be a whirlwind between these two, and I think it's going to be a messy storyline in my opinion. Kai just needs I think Kai needs something else to do. In my opinion, he was trying to weave his way in with Danny, and then he tried to weave his way in with Preston. That's all Kai has done this season. They need more storylines for Kai. Every other character has had things to focus on. And if Kai's main storyline is just to date people, then that's not a character. Then it's just you're just putting something into to just be there. But I hope Kai improves. I hope Kai gets involved with other characters and isn't just glued to two characters the entire show, because bloody hell, it was boring and cringy to watch at times. But the first character on his list is easily the worst character in existence. That is Kelly Joe, over the top acting in the first couple episodes, who was mellowed and properly calmed down for the rest of the season. But by that point, she'd already ruined herself, in my opinion. Too loud, too over the top. The acting was very crazy. And I get she's got ADHD, but at the same time, like I said in the reviews, I've seen people with ADHD react bad, but not how she was reacting. She was freaking out and going crazy. And for me, and I'll say this about every character, you watch these shows for escapism. You don't watch it to tick boxes. You don't watch it to be inclusive. You don't have to be inclusive all the time. Having everyone be this, be straight. It's not that you're being lack of inclusive, or if you don't have someone of color in the show, if you don't have someone of whatever it may be. I think Waterloo Road's issue with this show, it tried to do way too many things. And I'll just tick off 10 things: ADHD, sexism, racism, cancel culture. They were talking about historical offences, bulimia, knife crime, homelessness, drugs, alcohol, consent basically between Kai and Preston. A lot of these characters fall flat because of those issues, and it's forced down our throats. Kelly Joe was ruined because they gave her too many poor storylines in the first one that tried to make us be educated, and it was hard and cringy to watch. So for me, a lot of these characters have the potential to be better in the next part of the episodes, because I'm hoping they move away from a lot of what they did in the first set of episodes, give them storylines that household issues, the issues we're used to. If they're from a bad counselor state, or if they're struggling with money, or, if they're doing bad grades, or they're having troubled issues, things like that. Give a character a story each. But it isn't educating us on race or sexism or gender or whatever it may be. We go into these shows to escape, and I get it's the BBC, they're about educating, but they have to learn. We're not all interested in learning that stuff and we're watching Waterloo Road. We hear about that stuff enough in the real world. So I hope they learn and benefit more going forward. So you guys let me know down below in the comments your top 10 worst characters of Waterloo Road. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, all the opinions I share in this video are my opinion. Of course, you can let me know down below in the comments your thoughts. And I hope you have a good day. Subscribe and like. Goodbye.